kills, time survived, damage. It's all been dominated by basically those top 7 squads. You can throw in a God squad every now and then in the form of Zero. Obey Alliance has a player like Hades who is currently 5th in terms of damage. Other than that, it's been Space Station Gaming dominating the lobby, Wildcard through Pentalol and Kickstart dominating the lobby. And, you know, it's a lot of these MPL teams that have this experience on LAN here at the Super Arena showing off and saying, hey, look, this is another day at the office for us.
Exactly. And on the other side of that, you have, you know, a team like Low-Key who is also coming down from the MPL that currently find themselves struggling. And we talked about it yesterday. I have no idea why, because on paper, the squad is really strong. So I'm hoping that yesterday, whatever it was kind of just a funk. They're going to come back today. They're going to clean it up. And then show us why they were in the MPL in the first place.
Yeah, well, Loeb's the well-traveled man, currently leading that low-key roster right now. 8 kills for him, and you're really looking at Fignaldo, Pax, and Chubba Bubba, the long-standing members of this low-key roster, to step up. Having a conversation earlier with Figs, he's just saying, we just need to play a little bit more confident. We're spending so much time rotating on in late, trying to create space for ourselves. By the time we get in there, half the lobby's already dead, and we missed out on these points.
Right, and I'm really glad that it's clear that they're going back watching the VODs, because they're realizing it's something that I touched upon yesterday. For whatever reason, Low-Key just comes in so late. They stay in the blue so long. Their rotations just take forever. And then, like he said, by the time they get in there, either, you know, half the lobby's dead, or they find themselves in a situation that is unfavorable because they really didn't have time to scout in and figure out exactly how they wanted to play the circle.
All right, well, we'll see how this starts off. And immediately, hot drop going on in God Squad and Zenith popping off here. And so Kendo will have to be careful. Triggs does have a weapon. Walt Jr. and his legs also have a weapon to start off.
Yeah, this is kind of a go for broke play, I think, for these teams. Like, they realize, hey, we need to secure the spot we want to play. Even though you're only going to see this map twice total, they just want to get the points and assert basically their dominance. This is the last day.
Yeah, also just keep in mind here, we see the map. Oxy and Low-Key hot dropping on each other as well near Razak. We'll keep an eye on that one if anything pops off here. As the circle has popped, it will be a northern circle, so teams will have to move north of the river of Razak and Ruins at some point. But School and a little bit north of Pachinki will be it. Let's follow along here with Triggs up against 2 members of Zenith.
Yeah, Triggs is just kind of holding and trying to stall as long as possible while Zero potentially gets something for Big Power. Ooh, he hasn't lined up. He's not shooting yet. Iron Sight's very unreliable, especially with like a naked gun that he has. I don't believe he has a grip, attack stock, or anything on that thing.
Yeah, this is Roth over at Milta Power. So both members of Zenith are going to be going after things. And now Triggs able to get one there with the M16. Is he able to get 2? Oh, he's not able to get 2. But the distance coming on in, it's Spray able to pick it up. And I think both members now of Zenith are gone.
Yeah, and that was with a barrel from distance, and now it's really just up to Roth here to try to take down Zero. And this is very quickly falling apart for Zenith. Now, I mean, going for the flush aside, he still put so much damage on the other member, on the second member coming up the stairs in mini power of Zenith. And now it's just Zero, and he's kind of slowly playing with his time here. However, Roth does have a better position to kind of go for the frag, but again, that's a naked M4. From this distance, it's not going to mean all the world, but that's not what you want to fight with that early.
No, it's not. And
at
Zero's
least
like,
a red dot, a grip maybe, or a tax lock, just anything on it.
Zero's like, yeah, sprained leg, sprained ankle, but I'll see you later. Jumps off the building. And this is huge in terms of implications of standings right now. Zenith in 7th place currently with 36 points. God Squad in 8th place with 34 points. That's a ballsy move here by both squads to opt into this, and it's going to pay huge dividends here for God Squad.
Yeah, and I had a chance actually to talk to God Squad yesterday at the hotel, and I think they were just saying they just want to come in and just basically do their thing today. They're not going to really worry about points or any of that. They just want to come in, play their game, play as confidently and as well we know that they can, and basically just kind of not deal with anything else.
Yeah, that was a explosive start here to
that was a
number
perfect
2.
start. They didn't lose anyone. Yeah, one of their members got knocked, but that was a 3, I believe, or 2 at least for Zero trade. So they are definitely coming out on top there.
Yeah, great communication coming out of God Squad. You saw Spray earlier hop into UAZ and just book it, and I was like, oh, I guess that means Triggs is on his own. But coming back in time, able to help out his teammate and finish off the knocks, that's going to be a great start here for God Squad, and huge for their promotion tournament hopes, as we can say and see here on the map. Oxy and Low-Key just split up here, Georgie, so that hot drop, not so hot. They just hopped into the esports spawns of the vehicles and spread it on out. But, man, this circle is big shift away from what we saw yesterday. 2 military bases in games 1 and 6.
I'm kind of glad we didn't get another military circle, only because I want to see how these teams play on Erangel when it's actually like a normal circle, so to speak, like in quotes. But this circle does tend to like to end anywhere between Stallber and the Junkyard, or like Alamo Building North, which is just east of the crossroads under Severny. So like there's a lot of open field and a lot of openness to play. Oh, sprays coming out from mine. A lot of damage going onto the vehicle, but none onto the actual members of Wildcards themselves. So this does tend to end there. And if it does, we're going to see a lot of teams kind of posting up on the rocks or the rock formations just west of Stallber. A lot of teams kind of posting up towards the doghouses up there. And it does become a dangerous circle to play in the center because there's nothing really there.
Right. And we've seen yesterday, we saw, I believe, on Miramar where a circle just ended in the middle of nothingness.
Right.
And it's just a very difficult thing to work through.
This is kind of that circle, in a sense. For Erangel, there are other places it ends where it kind of is open, but this is the most common that we've seen throughout, like, MPL, PEL, and so forth, so on and so forth.
Taking a look here at Space Station Gaming, we lauded their ability to bounce back yesterday, leading the lobby, and it's been on the back of, I thought it was going to be on the back of Baja. Baja's been highly consistent, but actually Hetror getting back to form that we know him as one of the top fraggers, along with J-Sank and Valiate. They have individually 12, 11, and 10 kills, Hetror, Valiate, and then J-Sank, and they've just been fragging out this lobby.
And that's what we expect from all of these players. Like, there's no, clear, disgustingly good player on that team, because they're all disgustingly good. Like, you put Valiate, who is, again, one of the most talented mechanical IGLs that we have. I mean, Baja is just ridiculously good at playing off angles, and then you have Hetror, who's just a frag machine, and then J-Sank, the new addition, also, I mean, definitely no slouch. So they're all just really good.
Yeah.
And that's what we expect from them. So it's nice to see them finally returning to form.
Taking a look here at Halo Klein. Halo Klein in the NPLC, just a consistent squad, but they haven't been able to turn it on yet. Currently
Lush
sitting in 10th, and you can see Lush taking a peek here, and he wants to make sure these are the shots that he wants to take. What happened? One of the Low-Key members hops out of the vehicle. Figs does not get punished yet. He's very low, and now Low-Key in quite a precarious position. Zodiac able to finish off Figs. Down he goes, and Fignaldo down and out. Oh, boy.
That's the most unfortunate thing that could possibly happen. I think he F-keyed twice trying to just get in the vehicle. So he got in and he immediately hopped out, and I don't think it was on purpose because he had some sort of, spider sense tinkling that he was being aimed at, and that actually cost him his life because the rest of Low-Key just decided to bail as soon as those shots rang out.
And Low-Key got one circle. I think it was map number 2 where they got the circle on Miramar, but other than that, Low-Key has had some pretty tough going so far. Now they're about to run right on in. Yeah, they had to move so far in Sandhawk, and now they're trying to find somewhere to go, and Oxy's also right with them. Oh no, Mr. Blow It Apart. It's not a Contenders broadcast without someone running themselves over.
He bailed. He didn't want the vehicle to explode, so he kind of took the chance, hoping that he wouldn't get knocked from the fall damage, but he was going too fast. So that's going to be a member down for Oxy, now only 3 up. We started to see little glimmers of hope from them, but they still really need to pick it up, and starting with a player down is not necessarily the way they wanted to start out the first Erangel map.
Yeah, well, that was your NPLC survival leader going out 4th here in the lobby. So Blown Apart not going to be able to join the other 3-man group of Oxy, as Oxy trying to claw their way out of the bottom place here in the NPL relegation battle.
And Low-Key has a pretty good position in the circle, as we see P1E also making their way kind of late. They do loot around kind of Ferry Pier in that area, but they should be able to slowly scout their way in. This team, they're kind of weird. P1E is an interesting team to me because they are very hybrid in the way that they approach circles. They're not necessarily hard edge. They don't necessarily kind of send it center. They're very adaptive, and I think that's one thing that made them really strong. However, so far, at MPL relegations at least, they've just been finding their consistency over and over again.
Yeah, P1E had the biggest point total of the day. They had the biggest point total with 24 points in a single round. They tied Space Station Gaming with 14 kills for the top kill total in a round as well, and that's why they find themselves in third place in pretty solid position to promote on up, as long as they don't have a couple of clangers coming in to the day.
Yeah,
the circle is popped, and it is further north.
Right.
So we want to make sure
that we
take a
north
look
around
at that.
the Stahlberg Doghouses area.
Yep.
And these little cliffs that I was talking about earlier. This circle is really... It's really fun to watch as well as play, and I'll just say that because there's a lot of different off angles and tactical approaches you can take to fighting kind of multiple teams. And I think we're really going to see that, especially with Wildcard trying to set up here on low-key. I mean, they can hold this, and they can go wrap underneath the rocks where they currently are. They can also send one on top, try to get an angle above the team. So this is definitely a very elevation motivated circle as far as getting angles and trying to pick other players off.
Yeah, well, Elusive Gaming here with Wildcard. You can see them trying to have a bigger day than yesterday.
Oh,
nice bounce on the vehicle. Oh, kickstart. Able to kick off there right in time and get himself to safety. That could have been huge.
It was Elusive, not low-key. But yeah, they're going to be backing off. But this circle is it's very prone to fighting on foot, and that's kind of the circles that I like to play.
Vanquish, team currently sitting in 7th place, goes down to Patron for Zenith. And Zenith, remember, they're playing shorthanded because of the hot dropping that happened earlier. So Vanquish now, maybe, you know, losing a little bit of ground to not only to Zenith right below them, but God Squad, since God Squad is the squad right below both of them in the standings. And it's not that big of a gap right now. You take a look at the scoreboard, you look Space Station Gaming and Wildcard, they're in the 60s in terms of your point total. Pretty much they're safe, but then after that, it's a pretty close cluster all the way down to 9th place with Obey Alliance.
And P1E, again, they're just slowly coming in. They're taking their time. Gas station is going to be a little obnoxious for them. Yeah, you see them turning around. They don't want to try to rotate past that, but they still have a lot of room to work with, and they can be scouting ahead. Halocline is actually, looks like they're just going to kind of stay here and try to stave off some rotations. I just do hope that they are being a little proactive and looking ahead of where they can go, because this does shift basically east at all. It's going to cut them out, and they're not going to have too much to play, but it looks like the other member of Halocline, Charity, that's a really wild split, because it's just, it looks like a 1-3.
Yeah, Charity's by himself. Very much so. He is very much so by himself. That's why you see him looking at the angle. He had a shot if he wanted to, but he's going to wait and just kind of hang on out.
I don't think he's shown himself, and he definitely shouldn't, because if they realize that there's only one player, they're going to push him as 3, and they should be able to wipe him out.
Right, Trio Tree in building. Sociopath, D-Rich, Dusty, and Badiolol not having the day one that they wanted. We saw them in Sandhawk finish in 3rd place. Big move there by Badiolol to make a play there. But other than that, they've been relatively quiet, sitting in 14th place. Only 19 points, haven't even hit the 20 mark yet.
Oh, that is a... I love that circle, but I guarantee you all the teams on the West, not so much. And if you actually look, the East side is pretty much completely clear. You only have one real team that is committed to the East, and that's looks like God Squad. Yeah. So these Stahlberg circles are, again, some of my favorites to play as well as watch, just because everyone is on foot, everyone is kind of going for those angles. The fights get really intense. You also have some really interesting third-party mixes into that, so I'm very much looking forward to see how the circle plays out.
We'll keep an eye on how things shift around and how these teams are going to play this open area. You do have some hills here. Oh, Lush getting popped in the head. Not exactly sure where that came from. It's Chubba. And so Low-Key able to bounce back. Low-Key was driving around for such a long time, getting bullied around. I think we saw them on the minimap getting bullied by Vanquish. But you can see this. It's just a fleet of vehicles rolling around and trying to call a place home at some point. Oxy and Noble next to each other, as well as Halocline right behind them.
Yeah, this is going to be a mess coming up on this rotation. You got Reno going for shots as well as Tetra, Noble, Honey Badger. gets out and hits himself with a vehicle, and now this is a slaughter. Oxy has joined the fight.
Yeah, Boom pops off on his former team, Victor, getting shot in the back, and then he gets another one in the form of Tetra. Vanquish do get one back, though. Jason has been knocked as Fozu was able to get him down. Fudge now answering back. So you got 3 squads in this area go back and forth. Fozu, the last one alive for Vanquish. How did all the members of Vanquish fall so quickly? All the while, Low-Key now turning around onto Vanquish. They get the final member, and Lobes popping off and continuing leading the line here for Low-Key Esports. Oxy will take the time to heal on up. 2 kills over for Oxy.
And out of all 3 of those teams that ended up rotating in that position, it was actually Oxy coming in slightly later that kind of takes the king of the hill aspect of that, right? Because it was Noble as well as Vanquish. Oxy ends up cleaning up what Vanquish couldn't and then finishing off Vanquish. So really what we wanted to see, desperately needed points coming Oxy's way, and we'll see how that plays out the rest of the game for them. Meanwhile, I also want to say that Low-Key's position, even though they were driving around, as you mentioned earlier, just looking for a spot, they actually ended up landing in quite a good spot to kind of start taking control of that edge for themselves on the west side. So hopefully they also have an explosive game coming off of yesterday.
Yeah, it feels bad for Vanquish. They're the ones that laid the trap down. They get caught out themselves. Fizzle, oh, bad time to reload. Soko's able to pick him up, and now with the smoke down, Hades and Obey Alliance looking to close out here on Elusive. JL Day has a decision. It looks like he'll turn, tail, and run as Obey Alliance will get themselves out. Clam popping off there on Halo Climb. And Pack's able to get a nade down on Fudge. Action all over the place, and now JL Day needs to find somewhere to go. Obey Alliance are on the hunt, but they are starting to get shot from behind by Player One Esports. There, so you can see him with the X-ray vision, trying to hop on up. Now Wildcard spotting him out, and unfortunately for JL Day, he's going to have a bit of time to think about the day. Elusive going out in 15th place, and Nate now trying to hop into the party onto Theris, who was hunting earlier, now becoming the hunted, but Supernova's lead man not able to get anything there.
Yeah, and I believe P1E now also adding onto the fight for Obey Alliance, so, I mean, they're just getting pelted from all angles. They were able to finish up a fight with Elusive, but now they have to deal with 2 other teams with their crosshairs on their backs. P1E now going for even more of a devastating kind of stranglehold here as they wrap around, and they're really trying to just eliminate Obey, and this is definitely the play for them to make so that they can make it into the circle without anyone, without worrying about anyone behind them.
Yeah, it's just a 3-man group here of Player One Esports against the 2 of Obey Alliance, but there on the kill feed you can see one getting stolen away by Supernova, so Player One Esports backing off because they don't have information exactly where Supernova is. Hades does get finished off by D-Treats, and in the blue, and Nate trying to steal that one away, and yep, he'll take those points. 2 points over to Supernova. Obey Alliance, your 9th place team, going out in 14th. No points there for them.
Yeah, and although Nate was playing kind of a little scarily to me because he was on his own on that edge while his team was more south. I really like the fact that he did take that onto himself to try to pick off as many kills as he could, knowing that at the very least P1E wasn't going to be the team that knocks him down while he's kind of roaming alone there. So kind of a ballsy play, but I like it. He was able to at least snag a point for himself.
17 minutes into the game, phase 4. Hard shift south, and these rocks that you were talking about earlier now in play. Elevation all over the place. Wildcard getting one knocked by Player One Esports, and that actually helps out Space Station Gaming. Wildcard was starting to hold them in, and now Space Station have a little bit more room to breathe. And back to Low-Key and Oxy. These are 2 squads that need to get things going. Chuba has a lot of information here, and there it is. Clam getting caught out. Lobes picking that one up. Boom and Jason now getting rained down upon, as Duck also in the distance trying to work his way on in. And this is a difficult spot here for Oxy with Low-Key now holding him in, playing gatekeeper. Duck trying to get one from the blue. He's able to get one.
Actually gets Boom. Yeah, that's huge. And now he's moving through the blue. It looks like he's going to have a difficult time coming in because you still have Jason behind. But again, I mentioned earlier, Low-Key had a really good spot to kind of start controlling their edge, and that's exactly what they're doing, kind of going into circle a little late. I do hope that they looked ahead into circle at the very least to see if they themselves wouldn't get kept out, but they're getting a good amount of points here.
Oh, here comes Jason. Now he's trying to fight uphill, not able to get anything. Pax picks that one up, and Duck says, all right, my work here is done. He'll hang out for a little bit, has a couple of first aids, can loot up Jason and try to work his way on in, but the blue damage will be ticking up a decent amount more in 40 seconds into phase 5.
And P1E, even only with 2 players, have found themselves a good amount of kills and a good position here as well. They do have to be careful of Wildcard that's to their south on kind of the same elevation, but they can also wrap north if they really want to, and they would be running into the 303 boys, so they're going to have to make a decision here the three of them, whether or not they want to go north or they want to go south, because you can't really go in the middle. You're just going to get shot by pretty much everyone else.
Right, and they have an idea that Low-Key is in the area. They were taking some pot shots there. As you saw on the minimap, you see Duck just all the way out there.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to try. He's definitely going to try to work his way on
he can make it if he has enough meds, but I can tell you right now, Roth did not have enough meds as it goes down.
That's a top-tier analysis we're looking for, Godspeed. Is Patron able to pick one up here?
That's why you brought me
on
Adam.
And Zodiac now trying to answer back onto Patron with the hop shot, gets shot in the butt. Down he goes, and Zenith going out in 12th place.
But
Sociopath
Halocline
also
following them.
tapping on in. Oh, and Halocline as well.
Yeah, like that was immediate. As soon as he took out the last member of Zenith, he just got snagged. So now 303 again with I like this position as well. Anytime you can control your edge, the only issue is they do have to deal with God Squad, especially if they've heard all of this fighting. They might want to start wrapping north and secure these kills and just clear out their side of the circle. So Wildcard still also kind of split in between multiple teams. They have a good position as far as cover to deal with that, but eventually they're going to kind of have to pick a side and go off of that call to basically figure out what their next move is, because they have a lot of players around them, a lot of teams.
Yeah, this is a interesting little decision making time here for Wildcard, because they are in between Space Station and hey, right there in the minimap. Is this real life or is this fantasy? Did Duck just work his way on into the circle? Now is he shooting Chubba Bubba in the back? Did that just actually happen? Noble still alive with Duck just being a pain in the ass, isn't he?
Yeah, but this is what I was talking about with God Squad. They heard those shots and now they're slowly trying to figure out where all the members of 303 are, so that they can really capitalize on their position here. They also do technically have the high ground, or the higher ground, as they're on the top of the hill here towards the peak of Stalber. And if they can clear out 303, that would be really huge for them to just take over control of the north.
Yeah, I had no idea Lazarus was still playing, because Duck just came back from the dead right there and worked his way back on in.
He's still alive after that kill.
Yeah, he's still alive. Yes, he's very healthy. Thanks to Oxy, he was able to loot up all of Oxy's first aids.
I'm sure he got a good amount of meds. And here goes Space Station getting in a fight. Sub-Zero backing off, knowing that if he stays there, that's probably not the best outcome for his health. But nades being traded now, and it looks like Space Station's going to back up a little bit. Fortunately, they also have a member kind of on the off angle holding out, looking at the west side or the northwest to make sure that no one comes and wraps on them while they're trying to potentially do the same to the south.
Yeah, when Valiate throws nades, that doesn't mean he gets the Baja bounce. We got to see Baja with a big nade earlier in game one.
Some nasty nades in his career, man.
Absolutely, but not quite in that one, as we see Zero and God Squad. Again, they had the hot drop and apparently no other points since then. They're still 4 strong. They're eyeing down D-Rich. They're eyeing down Player One Esports. And they're just going to play for the zone and see where it goes here in Phase 6. It shifts a bit further to the southwest, but
like
that's not that far.
In a sense, yeah. I will say, though, this is actually where I think God Squad is scariest, when they do make it to this endgame situation in it with 4 players up.
All right, you can see Player One Esports, but it's a very crowded northern part of the circle here. Duck still playing a part in it and playing it very slow.
Zero going quite far by himself, trying to go for potentially an off angle. He's spotted out by someone.
Yeah, it was from distance. It was David.
It wasn't 303, I believe.
Yeah. So very lucky there for him that he'll be able to hide. 303 still trying to figure out what's happening around them. Valiate had a peek there at Kickstart, but decides against it. And here we go. Zero does take a shot. It's D-Rich going down. He does see him and gives away the information, but the blue coming on in. He gets finished off by Matty Lol. But that should be a kill back. Danny G now getting down and raining down the terror from above the hill.
Oh, wow.
He's able to answer a couple, so just one member still alive. It's Dusty for 303, and these trees might not be long for this world.
Yeah, I have not seen a Camden site in a long time, but he's just putting it. Oh, Dusty trying to survive. Oh, he doesn't get the shot. But yeah,
it's Duck yet again with another kill. He's still moving on. I was just about to say God Squad
able to clean it up, but man, Duck is a survivor right now.
That's been key to Noble's success. You don't see him on top of the kills. You don't see him on top of the damage dealt as he dies.
Hero goes down.
But it has been their time survived for Noble. They aren't able to work their way into position points this time, but Duck able to pick up at least 2 points after seemingly being knocked out. Supernova didn't get to see a lot of what happened to them after Nate got their kills. Acro gets deleted out in 8th place. Now he got
he's
some
still
big
pretty
teams
strong, though. Coming up now, potentially fighting here with P1E that's getting pelted from above by, looks like Space Station and the other teams, but they have to be very careful. I don't know if they know Loki is actually this close.
Now Lobes still up. He has been leading the line again for that low-key squad. Hetror picking up a kill off the Stolen Time, but with Wildcard very close, he's giving away a little bit of information. J-Sank gets knocked from distance by Comet, so now Space Station have a couple of fights on their fronts. Player One Esports have found out Loki. Just one member still alive for Loki. I'm not exactly sure who it is, so I have to keep an eye on that. Matthew now raining down nades. J-Sank. Oh! See you later, J-Sank. Matthew takes that one away. D-Treats finishing off Chuba. Still one member alive for Space Station. Just for Space Station, it's Baja and Comets now holding it down. Outside in the blue, and Baja might be giving himself up. He tries to wrap around here, but he might walk himself right on in to Wildcard. Give me your meds. Get yourself back on in there. Yaxley looking down the barrel, and I think Baja's going to give it up to the blue.
Just goes down.
Yeah.
That's it. Space Station eliminated at 6th.
All right, so the #1 squad now out of the way. It gives Wildcard a pretty clear path to first place after this round, and Lobes is just going to be a sneaky snake hanging out by his lonesome.
I mean, as long as he can survive, these are, again, much-needed points going the way of Low-Key, so hopefully for him, P1E doesn't hunt too hard, but it looks like they did find him. Shot's going to be ringing out. We see the tracers there on the map. And I don't believe Lobes is long for this world. However, I mean, it's not impossible for him to take down 3 members. Just saying.
Look at this.
We've seen a lot of really cool plays.
This might not be one of them.
No, it's not. I was hoping, but yeah, P1E not going to let that one go that way. With 5 kills as well, 3 on D-Treats, 2 on David.
Yeah, and that's been the MO for this squad. It's been a spread of kills. There hasn't been one player popping off. However, for Comets, it's been surprising here that Yaxley is not the one getting any of these kills from Comets' aggression. Yaxley, your lobby leader out of every single team here with 13 kills. And so that's been key for Comets to find success.
Definitely had a good day yesterday. They find themselves in the top 6 currently. And it seems like a lot of that was on the back of Yaxley fragging out.
Well, David now taking down one of those Comet members. Matthew has been knocked. Wildcard still close, so they could try to third-party the aggression earlier. And still, you just got God Squad hanging out on the opposite side of the map. You know, they had the 2 points earlier, and they might just be playing for position as Spray does get one member I think it was Aguila. There it is, yeah. So Spray does get one more. So it's 5 points now for it's 3 points for God Squad, 5 points for Player One Esports.
Yeah, but in this, if you notice, no one really wants to play in the center. It's pretty much just all open. And all these teams are now vying for position. Wildcard obviously very close to Comets, and they're going to be encroaching on their position here in a second. They need to clear out. One of these teams needs to clear the other one out so they have room to play with. Looks like Adam going for the spray. He's going to find it. Oh, wait, no, he's not going to find it. He actually gets knocked by Yaxley.
Yeah, the 6X on the machine gun didn't work out. Who would have thunk it? Adam not able to find what he was looking for. Comets able to pick up a couple. Like kickstart. Picking one off there very late and hurting Player One Esports. The team that is winning out of all this is God Squad because they're just hanging on out. Yeah. They've got to be seeing the kill feed. At some point, they're going to have to start going and pick up these points. Wildcard going out in 4th place.
But Comets, my goodness, they have been controlling their area so well, holding the Southwest, basically fragging anyone who gets close, and now it's pretty much going to be down to what God Squad does here because P1E, I believe, is just down to 1 member. D-Treats team is absolutely crippled, and what a game to start out for Comets.
Yeah, Yaxley and the boys able to show up here in game #1, an explosive game #1 with multiple hot drops, starting off with God Squad, and now it might end with God Squad, but Comets might be the ones ending it for him. A wall of smokes now down. Right in the middle of all this, though, is D-Treats. He's in the middle of the circle, and Disciple searching around for him, trying to find that solo sneaky snake of Player One Esports before the battle with God Squad kicks off here.
Yeah, Comets just needs to make sure they're not getting a little too overzealous as Matthew pushes, but I do like the way they're executing it. On the other side, I also like the way that God Squad has decided to kind of wrap and not basically pigeonhole themselves into one fight at one angle, you know what I mean? They're now starting to wrap, potentially go north. They can try to get different angles because this is a very wide circle for these two teams essentially to kind of play or battle on. I mean, you do have the odd element, which is D-Treats kind of chilling alone for P1E, but this is like a dream circle to fight another full team in because you have so much room and so much area to kind of mess around with. GodSquad didn't get far though, as he actually going forward, taking a lot of damage. It looks like they're just going to try to hold this this east side of the circle that they're currently in as it finally closes into Phase 9.
Yeah, he actually was feeling himself just a bit, just going W key straight forward into GodSquad, then able to turn face and not get knocked there. He did get damaged, but now Sub-Zero rolling around with the fatty flank. There he is. He sees Spray. Spray does not see him, but the circle is moving on in slowly. Phase 9. These are big points for both these squads.
Nice
Sub-Zero able to get the shots, and it's Yaxley yet again. Spray does answer to Sub-Zero, but it's just one member. All the while, D-Treats is looking pretty sweet there. A tasty treat for D-Treats because he's going to be alive, and he might be able to take this one. He gets two,
1-on-1.
And D-Treats is able to slow it down. Now Yaxley has to prove his worth. He's had a fantastic day number 1, but will he be able to come up here big against the NPL player D-Treats?
He has to know that those members are knocked. He has to know that it's a one-on-one. He cannot afford him time to get the res here.
He has no
He
nades.
needs to make the play. On top of that, the circle is closing, but that also might help D-Treats. He could just use the circle to his advantage. That's going to be Matthew down now. And these guys are going to have to come off the hill. D-Treats is in a good position to win this game.
Wow, D-Treats just holding his water right next to the tree. He's going to chuck some smokes out.
I don't think pushing is the correct play. I think he holds.
Yeah, Sub-Zero's trying to crawl in, but they know that he can't revive him. Oh, more shots from D-Treats and Disciple. And yet again, it's on the back of your kill leader, Yaxley. He has to come up huge. The smokes have given both players an opportunity to flank to the right side. They now see each other. The shots come through. It's insane by Player One Esports D-Treats. He comes up huge. An 8-kill chicken dinner.